Here we go. Let's see how we do. So I put a few, I think I have about 6 of them up so far. And if you need to see more, we can run through them. Problem number 1, we have our A value, B value, and C value is listed. I think everyone should be okay up to that point as long as it's equal to 0. It's easy to find. Let's see. So x equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4a and c. That's a 3. All over 2a. Do you feel okay about how I just did that? Again, this is a valuable formula. Unfortunately, there are errors that do take place up there. The nice thing is we have negative b, and b happens to be positive, so we're not going to have the error here, so we know that negative 6 is fine. We also know that we're going to have 36 here. Where this gets goofed up is when this is negative, because you plug your negative value into your calculator, and your calculator gives you a negative answer out. Because your calculator doesn't have the iterations. If you're going to square something using your calculator, make sure you have your item in parentheses and the squared on the outside. And then minus 4 times a times c, so that's going to give me 97? Negative 7? Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12, right? So sometimes you use the wrong math operation in order to make that work. Let's see. What do you think about that? Probably still don't have anything out. That's a little disappointing. Sorry you haven't figured out how to play school yet. Oh, you can take notes on this. Then borrow something. Quit being a Democrat and expecting someone else to do it for you. Yeah, I went there. And if you're offended by that, then how about stop being like the French and running from a problem? All right. Oh, hey, getting off the politics. I want to break 48 down. 48 does work out as 4 times 12, but something else works a little bit better. What works better?
6 times 8?
Nope, 6 times 8 will indeed work. But I think 48 will break down to 16 times 3. Why am I choosing that one and not doing the biggest square root is 16? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I got negative 6 plus or minus. What does this break down to? Square root of 16 is? 4. So I get 4 square root 3. Still with me? All over 2. All right. Almost. If you got to this point, this is probably a 4-point problem. If you got to that point, you would get 3 out of 4 points. Why am I saying that? Yeah, I can reduce a little bit. The fraction itself can reduce. So 2 goes into 4 and goes into 6. So I got negative 3 plus or minus 2 square root 3 for an answer. Okay. Hey, why did I not reduce 2 into the 3? Not because one's odd and one's even.
They don't go.
Yeah, you cannot reduce from outside of a root to inside of a root, or outside of a radical to inside of a radical, or inside a square root to outside a square root. It doesn't reduce that way. So that was problem number 1. Problem number 2. All right, so I have the problem over here where my A value is 2, my B value is negative 4, my C value is 1. So we're going to plug it in. X equals negative B plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Some errors that would take place up here. You have the double negative in a row. So understand that negative negative is a positive. Plus or minus negative 4 quantity squared. This is, again, where so many people make an error because you trust your calculator and you want to give me an answer that's wrong. This answer comes out to 16, not negative 16. Well, the calculator says it does. I understand. please understand, if you square something that's negative, it becomes positive. Why does your calculator choose to do that? Because the operating system doesn't look at negative 4 being squared. It looks at negative 4 as being negative 1 times 4 squared. And that's why it works that way. Let's see. Negative 4 times 2 times 1 is going to give me negative 8 all over 4. That looks all right. So I get 4 plus or minus square root of 8 all over 4. If you got to that point, you have 2 out of the 4 points right on the problem. What will break down? 4. 8. This breaks down to what? Yeah, 4 times 2. And 4 times 2, the square root of 4 is 2. Okay? So then we can reduce. So then you get to this point, you got 3 out of the 4 points. If you get to this point saying, okay, 2 goes in here, 2 goes in here, and 2 goes in here, I get 2 plus or minus 1 square root 2, which is the same thing as square root 2 all over 2. Now here comes the question. Doesn't that 2 reduce? It does in the first part, but can that 2 reduce into the root 2?
No.
No. So that's your answer. Okay. Yes, you could. If you wanted to break that part, the answer could become 1 plus or minus square root 2, and the square root 2 is over 2. That could happen that way. I don't think you need to jump to that point. If you do, you're not wrong. Just be careful. The nice thing with how that's presented is the whole fraction versus this part's not over a fraction and the other part is. Okay.
So for that part in green where you crossed out like the 2, did you realize is that basically saying that all those are divisible by 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly right.
Because I was confused, because the last problem you did, it was you just divided by the bottom number. So
Yeah, the bottom number on this last one.
you divided by 2 that time.
Because
it still fit.
Because I could have had this over 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense? Cool. Good question. I like it. All right, problem number 3. It's over there. My A value is 2, my B value is 3, and my C value is negative 20. So x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That works that way. The negative 3 comes along to the right, plus or minus square root 9 plus 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 8 times 20 is going to be positive 160. I like it. All over 4, so I get negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 169 all over 4. What's the square root of 169? 13. Oh, excuse me. 13, yes. So negative 3 plus or minus 13 over 4. Where did the square root sign go?
That's perfect square.
It is a perfect square, so the square root of a perfect square, it eliminates. All right, so then we actually have to do the arithmetic now. So I get negative 3 plus 13, which is 10 over 4. Reduce that, I get 5 over 2. You could make it 2 1/2 or 2.5, that's fine. So that's our first answer. And then I get negative 3 minus 16, or minus 13, which is negative 16 over 4. And that reduces to negative 4. 5 over 2 and also negative 4 are our answers. No radical signs on this one. This one would have factored. This would have factored, which is fine. Okay? Number 4. X squared minus 8 is our problem. Take a look at my A, B, and C's. Why is the B value 0? Yeah, it's not there. There's not an X term, so it's got to be 0. So X equals negative B plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Agree? Negative 0, well, that just comes out to 0. Plus or minus 0 squared minus negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 8 is positive 32. What's that? Did I do my math right? I didn't?
No, we said you're good.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's see. 0 plus or minus square root 32 over 2. You get to that point, you have 2 out of the 4 points correct. What does 32 break down to? Good. 16 and 2. 0 plus or minus 16 times 2 all over 2, which gives me 0 plus or minus 4 square root 2 over 2. If you get to this point, you will earn 3 out of the 4 points. Why is that? Yeah, I can divide by 2. So this 2 goes into 4 twice. Goes once here. That's still just gonna stay 0, right?
Yeah.
So I get 0 plus or minus 2 square root 2 all over 1, or I could just keep it like that. Did you guys lose any tree limbs in your yards?
Yes.
No.
I got lucky. None of my trees had leaves. So either all my trees in my yard are all dead or they figured out how winter works. I hope they figured out how winter works, or I'm going to have 7 trees that I have to drop that are all, I love them. So hopefully they
I
all
saw
work.
that creek lost.
Did they?
Some of the trees around here.
Oh, really?
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
My tree went.
There's a tree in my neighborhood that fell over on the road.
Really?
Yeah. 'Cause the people weren't like, we like what me and my dad did, like every hour we would go outside, like get a shovel and like knock off the snow.
Yeah.
But no, they didn't do that.
No,
So like just fell on the road.
crazy. Crazy. All right. Let's see. Number 5. X squared minus 3x equals 0. Why is my c value 0?
'Cause it's equals.
Yeah, there's nothing up there. So if nothing up there, nothing is 0. All right. So I'm going to plug those terms in. So I get x equals negative b. So it's negative 3. B squared. So negative 3 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You agree? What does this come out to?
No, 3.
3. This one comes out to 9. And then what does this come out to? 0 all over 2. Square root of 9 is? 3. So I get 3 plus or minus 3 all over 2. Let's do the arithmetic. 3 plus 3 is? 6. 6 over 2 is? It's 3. Good. 3 minus 3 is? 0. 0 divided by 2 is? 0. This one also would have factored completely. It would have factored to x and then x minus 3 and then set each equal to 0. We doing okay?
Yeah.
Woo! Number 6. On number 6, I don't know why they had a v and then they had an x. It was probably just a typographical error, so I changed the v to an x. I don't know. We can't type. Wow. We're all thumbs when we type that. I can't do this. We got so used to texting this way, so when it comes to QWERTY typing, we can't do it. That is true. The X and V are only 2 letters apart, separated only by a C. Other than changing that V to an X, I also had to move the 5 over because I need it equal to 0. Is that okay? And so once I do that, you now have an A value of 2, a B value of negative 3, and a C value of negative 5. Is that okay? So X equals negative B plus or minus B squared minus 4A and C all over 2A. What do you think? Here you go. Plus or minus 9 plus 40 over 4. 3 plus or minus square root of 49 over 4. Square root of 49 is 7. 3 plus or minus 7 all over 4. 3 plus 7 is 10. 10 over 4 reduces to 5 over 2, which is 2.5 if you wanted to go that way. And then 3 minus 7 is negative 4 over 4. That comes out to negative 1. This problem also would have factored if we had chosen to factor it. So, that's the 6 problems I had gone to so far. Quadratic formula always works. That's the neat go-to. But factoring works sometimes. How do you know when to choose what? I can't tell you. I will tell you that there was a philosophy out there of why do we teach factoring when we could just work backwards from the quadratic formula each time. I agree with that. But the thing about factoring is there's a lot of things further on in math that the factoring will help you with. A lot of times in calculus, things will break down quickly as far as the problem goes. They create the problem that way for that reason in order for it to work out nicely. And it has to do with when you're finding the integral and also the derivatives. And those are, all calculus really is you're changing dimensions of your math. And a lot of times you're just finding the area of something. And that's really what calculus is, which you guys have already found. That's the calculus because you found the area of stuff. Have you done enough calculus to realize it was actually calculus to do well? No, not really. But you'll get there. Don't worry. I will tell you this. If I was able to make it through calculus, you can make it through calculus as well. But I was kind of a math geek too sometimes. What year did I take calculus? 91. I didn't take calculus in high school. We didn't offer it at my high school. Now, when I was in high school, AP exams had just started coming out, and my high school was not one that had jumped on it to offer it. So, I probably wouldn't even have taken it when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I was just like, I wanted to be an orthodontist. You want to know why? Because an orthodontist drove a cool car. That was my only reasoning of why I want to be an orthodontist. You think about that, you're like, wait a minute. So, yeah. Actually, he was a nice guy. But, it just seemed like a good thing. My degree changed all kinds of times. Orthodontist was when I was in high school. Got to college. Started with, yeah, I always thought that, but I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. But I remember back in the earlier days, they didn't have cabs big enough for the firefighters, so you used to have guys hanging off the back of the truck. Yeah. And that was always cool to see. The fire truck come down the road, a guy hanging off the back, it was like the congressman do today. It's like, dude, that looks so fun.
Like what?
The garbage man.
Garbage.
You know the guy who hold on to the back and then
Jump
two
out.
extras. So yeah, the firemen used to do that too. There was a time in there.
Safety hazard.
Yeah, I know. OSHA got involved because someone went around a corner too fast and some firefighter would hold on.
Well, that's why they have helmets.
Yeah, I know. Helmet just holds your brain in place when you hit the ground. So seatbelts just for lazy ambulance drivers who don't want to find you as you flew out the windshield. So great, we have all the victims here in one spot. Yeah.
I don't know where he went. Oh, look, there he is. Down the road about 30 feet.
I do recall when I was a kid, my dad had this Dodge van, and the Dodge van did not have seatbelts in it at all. Now, everyone else had seatbelts in all their cars, but we used to just shove them down the seat because, why would you wear your seatbelt?
Right?
And then there was one theory out there saying if you did like 80 miles an hour and you hit a brick wall or a tree or something like that, the seatbelt would cut you in half and that frightened a whole bunch of people. But now we have cars that if you don't fasten your seatbelt, it'll ding at you nonstop until the car
so
dies.
annoying.
So I'm glad that the government is involved with controlling what we do on our cars, so we're
glad
so much
that's what they're
safer.
spending their money on.
We're safer though. We're safer. I mean, I always thought this was funny. In Arizona, you could have as many people as you wanted in the back of your pickup truck. You know, sitting on the side, woohoo, having a good old time. But it was illegal to have your dog in the back of a truck. You make this one work. 26 people in the back of a pickup, woohoo! Going down the highway. You put a dog back there, yeah, you're breaking the law.
Well, is it like the animals?
I don't know, it might have been, but I think it was specifically dog. You hear people, man, I got a ticket. Why is that? I have a dog in the back of the truck. Put your wife back there, keep the dog up front, you'll be alright. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, honey. Get in the back of the truck.
No, I was a rite of passage as a kid. Right in the back of the pickup, you were free. Heck, Dad used to take the seats out of his van so you could roll around the back of the van when you'd go around the corners too fast. That was fun. There was always someone that would hit their head. Oh, they got a bump on their head. Oh, it hurts. You just look at it and you gotta hold on tighter.
Right?
All right. 7, 8, 9. Is everyone okay with 7, 8, 9?
Can we do
Let's
8?
do all.
7, you got to make sure you do that. So 7, you have to make sure you do that when you plug it in. So I moved the 2 over. 8, you have this. Make sure this takes place. So it was equal to 5x. You have to move the 5x over. Make sure your A, B's, and C's are this. B, that's a B value. Number 9, you had this, so make sure you move your 2x squared over. It becomes negative. So then your A value is -2, your B value is 5, and your C value is -8. So that's just how you would have to walk through those. Yeah, remember, soda cans, we used to have these pull tabs, and the whole tab itself would come off. Now it actually stays as a part of the can. But people used to drop the pull tab into their can, and you would drink it. Of course, there was one village idiot who was trying to drink their soda as fast as they could, and the pull tab went to their throat, and that was bad.
And they died.
Well, I don't know if they did, but there was always, the thing is, we didn't have the internet back then, so if you heard something, it was the gospel truth. Now you just go to the internet and it's gospel truth now. So there, you heard, someone swallowed a pull tab can, their pull tab from a can of soda. And now that the companies need to change how they do the pull tabs because some idiot, you're like, I don't know. They used to institute fear in us. They still do, but now you can just find a different website that says something different. You go with what that says. That's what that's how people go through statistics these days. You hear one statistical analysis that takes place, and if you don't agree with it, you go look to find one that you do agree with, and then it's the gospel truth. So yeah, life is funny. How are you guys going to navigate it through your adult life? And my biggest thing is question statistics always. Let me say that one more time. Question statistics always. I was brought up with statistics of 4 out of 5 dentists tell their patients who chew gum to chew Trident. I wondered who the one dentist was who said, nah, get the full sugar stuff. He was the one who wanted to make more money on fillings, I guess. So, it's different. But it was like gospel truth. 4 out of 5 dentists tell their patients who chew gum to chew gum. What do you guys think? Is this quadratic formula stuff going okay? Can numbers get a little too big? Yes. Quadratic formula allows you to get through problems. I want to give you this worksheet. You have quite a bit of time. And let's do this. Let's have a little fun with it. Why don't you guys... Well, let's pass it out first. Oh, dude, it's math. How much fun is that? Yeah, I understand. So tomorrow we don't actually have class, right? There's some sort of ACT or SAT or something that ends with a C.
I think it's all sophomores.
Sophomores, God bless you. All right.